Yo, RX back with another breakdown of UFC 297 Strickland versus Duplessis. We back for the first pay-per-view of 2024. Let's do it, man. Is it the best pay-per-view on paper? No, it's not a pay-per-view worthy card in my opinion. But it's still a decent card nonetheless, and I feel like it's going to be a fun card. So, yeah, we always underestimate these cards, and a lot of times they overperform. Very rarely do they underperform, so let's see where this card falls by the end of the day. But before we can get to that, we have to break down the fights on the card. So, unless we're going to say something besides, please like, comment, subscribe. 100 subs goal by the end of 2024. But besides that, and I don't want to waste too much time on a long intro, because I never do. So let's get into some fights. 12 fights in total on this card, and it's going to be an interesting one. So let's start off with the first early prelim of the night. In Canada, we have Malcolm X Gordon versus Jimmy the Brick Flick. Decent fight to start tonight. Not the best fight, not a high level fight, but it's a okay fight. So let's start off tonight by talking about our first Canadian of the night, Malcolm Gordon. Malcolm in the UFC is 2-4. His 2 wins, Francisco Figueiredo and Denis Bondar. Really, this should be a no contest. So he's really 1-4-1. And his losses: Amir Albazi, Sumadarji, Mukayev, and some bitch. So yeah, he's been off for a year, coming off a god awful performance in his last fight, and he's just not he's not a very good fighter. He's not a bad fighter, but he's not a very good fighter. He's 33 years old, and he's fighting for his job at this point. Like, he's had very few good performances. The Figueiredo performance was fine. He looked decent versus Mukayev. Besides that, Albazi wiped the floor with him, as he should. Sumadarji ran over him. Fucking Bondar, that fight barely happened. So, yeah, he's just had a very, not a good UFC career, but he's just not that great of a fighter. His striking's passable, his ground game's passable, his chin's never been too strong, his fucking gas tank ain't very good. So, let's see how he does in this fight. He did go into his last fight for a bad injury, and it showed. So, let's see how he does at home. He was not on the first Toronto card, so he is on this one. So, let's see how he does. Or not Toronto, the first Canada card. So, let's see how he does on this one to open the night. Let's see if he can set the tone for the Canadians. To talk about his opponent, Jimmy Flick. Jimmy in the UFC is 1-2. His 1 win is Cody Durden. His 2 losses are Charles Johnson and Alessandro Costa. Flick started off his UFC career looking amazing. Won on Contender Series. Had an awesome submission against Cody Durden. Then he retired for 2 years. 3 years, my bad. And then he came back at the start of 2023, got his ass beat by Charles Johnson, got his ass beat by Alessandro Costa, and now he's fighting for his job. With how shit he's been performing, I don't even know why he came back, to be honest. He's looked so fucking terrible in his 2 return fights. He's looked like maybe the worst flyweight on the roster at times. I can't say one good thing about anything he's done in his return. He's looked slow, sluggish. He's still a shitty striker. His ground game is he's getting beat on the ground by Charles Johnson. Like Alessandro Costa picked him apart, which ain't a bad thing. Costa's very good, but still, it's like, dude, why would you even come back? It's clear he's just fighting for a paycheck. Like, he's fucking doesn't look like he's trying. He's looked fucking terrible. And yeah, he's just not a good fighter. And he's fighting for his job here and probably going to lose it. So yeah, just not a very good return for Jimmy Flick. Either you shouldn't have retired when you beat Jourdain, or you should have stayed retired, because at least you would have won out as a what if. So, because now the what if is, what if you did stay retired, you wouldn't have came back and embarrassed yourself. So yeah, not much good to say about Flick. He's looked fucking terrible. The betting odds for this fight have Malcolm Gordon -130 to +110. Those are actually wrong, because those are, I guess, at the start of the week. By now, I think Malcolm Gordon's around -220, or not 220, but -200. I would have, like, as much as it's weird to say, and as much as I don't have that much faith, I still will say Malcolm Gordon should be about -250 to 300. Even with how bad Malcolm Gordon has looked, I think he can beat Jimmy Flick, and I will honestly be a little shocked if he doesn't beat Flick with how Flick has looked. Like, let's be honest, where is Flick gonna win this fight outside, like, if he catches him in a submission? He's not a better striker. Malcolm Gordon ain't the fucking best fighter in the world, but he should be able to beat the Flick we've seen in his last 2 fights. Like, he's not much worse of a fighter than Charles Johnson. And Charles Johnson fucking dominated Jimmy Flick, so. And is Flick much better than Francisco Figueiredo? So I know MMA math never fucking works, but still, let's be a little honest now. Malcolm Gordon should win this fight pretty easily, and that is a sentence I never thought I would say, but I am. And another sentence I never thought I would say is, my lock of the night this week is Malcolm Gordon. Yes, this card's really bad for locks. I'll talk about the other 2 options later, but I don't know why. He's the pick I can say I feel the most confident in. So that's what I'm going to call my lock this week. So my lock of the night this week is Malcolm fucking Gordon. Tom Nolan burnt me last week. Gordon will probably burn me this week. Whatever. So, to start tonight, I'm going to go with the favorite, of course, being Malcolm Gordon. And I'm going to go Malcolm Gordon by decision. I could see him finishing Flick, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Gordon does not have killer mentality. So I could see him just picking him apart for 15 minutes on his way to a decision. So that's what I'm going to say he does. So my pick here is Malcolm Gordon by decision. Lock of the night. Watch now. Jimmy Flick's gonna fight like fucking prime Jimmy Flick out of nowhere. It's gonna be annoying as shit. Start night, Malcolm Gordon by decision. After that, we head into our second fight of the night. Now flipping to the women's flyweight division out of the men's flyweight division. And we actually have a pretty good fight here. I know a lot of people will disagree with that. This could be an underrated banger on the card easily. Like, this just screams a fucking banger fight, as we have Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Priscila Zombie Girl Cachoeira. Very, very, very good fight here. And yeah, let's talk about it. Let's start with the Canadian. Though every prelim starts with a Canadian, I don't know if that's how we're gonna do it. We begin by talking about Jasmine Jasudavicius. Jasmine in the UFC is 3-2. Her 3 wins: Kay Hansen, Gabriela Fernandez, and Miranda Maverick. Her 2 losses are to Natalia Silva and Tracy Cortez. She looked decent, and she's had up and downs in the UFC. Like, she's had good performances, and she's had bad performances. Like, against Kay Hansen, she looked good. Against Gabriela Fernandez, she looked great. Against Miranda Maverick, she looked great. Then you have Natalia Silva, which Natalia Silva is looking to be one of the best fighters in the division. You're not going to get mad at that. And the Cortez fight was weird. It was not even a bad performance, I don't think. It was a very close fight. No matter what, they were going to give it to Cortez because it was Noche UFC. But yeah, Jasmine did not look bad. And yeah, Jasmine's main problem is her striking. It's not, like, she's shown, like, in a Maverick fight, her striking actually looked very solid. But then you fight Cortez and the striking's not very good. She seems to have a good gas tank. We know her ground game is great. Her striking just ain't. And especially in a fight like this, where if she is going to strike or is forced to strike, you better have good striking, because it could end bad. She's tough. We saw in the Natalia Silva fight, she can take damage. But how much? Another red flag I've been saying is 34 years old, not like getting older. It's not great, but she doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on her fucking like career. It's only 9-3, very few fights, so that's the one good thing. So yeah, I know a lot of people write off Jasmine for like the Cortez fight and shit like that. I think she's a fighter who has a lot of talent, just she's ran into brick walls like Natalia. And then again, this was a very close fight, so when she has shown up and performed at her best, she has looked amazing. Like in these two fights show the best Jasmine Jasudavicius. So, and then the funny thing, on the Contender Series, she beat a very good fighter also. Julia Pilarstri is in the UFC now, and yeah, that's another good win for her. So, I don't know, I think a lot of people overlook Jasmine. I think she is a very talented fighter, just she's had some, either a not a great performance against Cortez, or yes, she lost to Natalia Silva. Are you really upset about you losing to Natalia Silva? No. So, yeah, not really much more to say in that regard. To talk about our opponent, Priscila Cachoeira. Cachoeira in the UFC is 4-5 in the UFC for fucking ever. Her wins: Shana Dobson, Gina Mazzani, Ji-Yeon Kim, and Ariane Lipsky. Her losses: Valentina, Molly McCann, Luana Carolina, Gillian Robertson, and Miranda Maverick. We know what we're getting with Cachoeira at this point. She wants to fight. She wants to stand in the center of the octagon and fight, because she can't do much else. She has no ground game. It's been shown many times. In her last fight, it was shown that she can't fucking wrestle. I think she had 3 losses by fucking submission for a reason. She's a terrible fucking wrestler, grappler. So, and like, her gas tank is not very good. She does quit at times. She's down for a brawl, and if you don't brawl with her, you'll probably be able to beat her. Like, if you look at her 4 wins, fucking Shana Dobson is a terrible fighter. Gina Mazzani is a terrible fighter. Ji-Yeon Kim with the robbery. I actually forgot about that. That was a complete robbery. And Lipsky got clipped. And then we don't even need to talk about this fucking shit. Going for Julian's eyes while getting choked. Fucking bitch move. But, yeah, Cachoeira's a very simple fighter. She's going to go in the middle of that cage, and she's going to ask for a fight. If you shoot on her and get her to the ground, you will probably win. So, yeah, pretty simple. The betting odds for this fight have Jasmine Jasudavicius -410 to +300. I think she has dropped a little bit over the week, but that's still about where she is. I think she's about like 350 by now. I get it. I definitely get it. I would have Jasmine about -300. I think 400 is a little much. I'd say 300. Cause I think this fight could go 2 ways. Either, yeah, what people obviously think is going to happen, Jasmine's going to wrestle her way to a win. And that is the path of least resistance. That's definitely the smart thing to do, because she'll probably win pretty easily if she does that. Better cardio, better ground game, etc. But Jasmine never backs away from a fight, and I could see a world where they go to war, and this could easily be a fucking underrated banger if they do that. Because again, Cachoeira is never going to back down from a fight. Jasmine's always ready for a fight. This could be really fun, and I'm excited. It's always interesting to see what way a fight goes when it has multiple ways of how it can go. What do I think's gonna happen? Most likely Jasmine was gonna wrestle. She, like, coming off a loss in the striking department, fighting a dangerous, powerful hitter in Canada, she's probably gonna wrestle, which is smart. Maybe she even gets her first finish in the UFC. I would not be too surprised. So, but you never know. If the crowd starts booing and Jasmine starts fucking Cachoeira, let's say, some things lead to another, they start trading, it's gonna be entertaining. So, yeah, my pick here is gonna be Jasmine Jasudavicius. I think the Canadian badass gets her second win in Canada. And I'm going to say by decision. I could see her getting a finish, gassing out Cachoeira, but most likely I think she will 30-26, probably maybe a 29-27, some shit like that. So yeah, that's my pick. Jasmine Jasudavicius by decision. So far I have Canadians starting off tonight well. Do they end the early prelims winning? Maybe. As we head to our last fight of the early prelims in the welterweight division, as we have Yohan White Lion Lainesse versus Sam the Future Patterson. Not probably the worst fight on the card, but it could be fun and I guess a little bit interesting. So, yeah, let's talk about Yohan Lainesse. Yohan in the UFC is 1-2. His one win is Darian Weeks, and his two losses are Gabe Green and Mike Malott. He beat a bad fighter in Darian Weeks, and then in his two losses, he completely gassed against Gabe Green in a fight he was doing pretty good in. And Mike Malott's Mike Malott. What do you really expect to happen there? Yohan's a one-round fighter, it seems. Like, the Gabe Green fight kind of showed that. He's not a very good fighter. He's just not really been that impressive in the UFC. Like I said, when your UFC career is losing to Gabe Green, which ain't good as is, but fucking gassing out against him, that's not great. It was a close fight with Darian Weeks, and then yeah, Mike Malott beating you ain't a bad thing, but yeah. And then before he got to UFC, he was not beating fucking that great of fighters. So, yeah, Yohan. Sorry. Yohan's really not impressed me. He's a fine striker. He can grapple. He has good power in his hands. But yeah, he's just not really been that impressive in his UFC career so far. And heading home, maybe he can change that. But I'm not going to hold my breath in that regard, so we'll see. But yeah, he's not the best, I'll say that much. To talk about his opponent, Sam Patterson. Sam in the UFC is 0-1. Yeah, I was happy to see him get fucking annihilated in his debut because I don't think he should have got a contract anyway. I don't think he looked that good. And then his debut kind of showed that he is a bad fighter. He reminds me of a tall Paddy Pimblett. He leaves his chin open to get knocked off, and he's just not a very good fighter. The one big interesting thing about this fight that I did not know until halfway through the week, this fight is at welterweight, which means Patterson is moving up from lightweight, which I think is really good for him. Because if you just look at this fucking picture, this dude is 6'3" at fucking lightweight. He tried to be a weight bully, it didn't work. So I think a more filled out Patterson will be very, very interesting. He won't be as drained. He'll definitely be my bad. He'll definitely be probably able to fight a little better. And he's probably had a lot easier of a fight week, so I think that's interesting. I think it's definitely the right move. It's definitely the smart thing to do, and it's gonna be interesting to see how he does look in the cage. Will being bulkier be good or bad for him? We'll see. Does he actually put his fucking head down, not let his chin get knocked into space? We'll fucking see. But, yeah, not a very good fighter. Not impressed with him in the little I have seen of him. And, yeah, he really needs to impress this week, or I say you could probably cut him. If he gets, like, flatlined again, just cut him, he fucking sucks. So, yeah, not very much else to say. The betting after this fight, I have Yohan Lainesse minus 145 to plus 120. I think that slipped a little bit. I think they're more of a pick'em now, but I think Lainesse is still, like, the regarded favorite. I get it, but I have this a pick'em. Like, they both suck. So, two cans, let's see who comes out on top. We've seen 100 of these fights, and I really never think they're easy to predict, because how do you really predict? It's hard enough to predict one bad fighter. Two is never fucking easy, so, yeah. Who am I going with in this fight? I don't know why, I'm leaning to Sam Patterson. I don't know fucking why. Will it probably age bad? Yeah. But I don't know why I'm leaning Patterson. I think the weight change, it will really help him. 15 more pounds could help him. If he puts his fucking head down, it could help. And I could see him being able to fight smart to get a win here. So he probably has a better gas tank. Yohan will be gassed by round 2. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they both do in this fight. Yohan fighting a very tall fighter, Patterson fighting up a weight class for the first time. Gonna be interesting, so. But who am I going with? I do think I'm gonna lean with Sam Patterson. I don't know why. I just have a feeling. So, yeah. My first dog pick of the card is going to be Sam Patterson. And I'm gonna say by decision. Again, fight smart. Don't risk getting your fucking head knocked off and get the win. So, yeah, my pick here is going to be Sam Patterson by decision. Will I be shocked if he gets KO'd? Not at all. And, but I'm going to say he fights smart and wins. So, Sam Patterson by decision. The first Canadian, I say, takes him out tonight. Will we get more? Maybe. But, yeah, those are the early prelims. Very good early prelims. Fine fight here. Great fight here. And could be okay here. Not bad. Now we get to the prelims, which are actually pretty solid fucking prelims. As we start in the women's strawweight division, as we have a battle of veterans, but she's only 28. As we have Gillian the Savage Robertson versus Dama di Fiero Polyana Viana. Very good fight here. Two veterans, even though how the fuck are they only 28 and 31? And yeah, let's talk about Gillian Robertson to begin with. Happy she did make it on the Canada card this time. She did miss out on 289, but she's here now, so nice. Gillian in the UFC is 9-6. Goddamn. Not gonna go down her whole career. I'll go down her last 5 fights. She fucking beat Cachoeira. We talked about that earlier. Lost to Aldridge, beat Akapova and Pierre Rodriguez, and then got beat up by Taveras. Gillian is a super one-dimensional fighter. She's either going to lose on the feet or get you to the ground and sub you. She's never been able to strike, and I doubt she's fixed it in under like 6 months. Yeah, get fucking real. She's just never been a good striker, and I don't think it's going to change here. She's dangerous on the ground. You don't want to be on the ground with her. But if you're striking with her, you got really nothing to worry about besides her shooting a takedown. She has no power in her hands. She's, again, just a bad striker overall, and we've seen her lose fights that way many, many times. Taveras, JJ Aldridge, Miranda Maverick. And many others. She's just a bad striker. So, if you can stop Gillian's takedowns, you will 99% chance beat her. So, yeah, it's pretty simple. To talk about her opponent, Polyana Viana. Poly in the UFC is 4-5 for 4 wins. Not gonna even try that name. Emily Whitmire, Mallory Martin, and Jinyu Fry. Her 5 losses: J.J. Aldridge, Hannah Cyphers, Veronica Hardy, Tabitha Ricci, and Aspen Lucindo. That's actually very interesting. They share 2 losses. And J.J. and Ricci. Ricci beat them both, and neither the Viana fight was a little closer than the Robertson's fight, I think, but both easily got beat. But that Tabitha Ricci was fucking great. So, Polly's an interesting case. I think she has a lot of talent. Like, she's really good on the ground. Her striking does seem to be getting better over time. That Jinyu Fry fight, she showed good striking, good power. She looked decent against Aspen Lucindo. Some people say she won round 1. But again, it was Aspen Lucindo, who is great. So I can't even get mad at losing to her in the second round. The big knock on Polly, she's beat no one good. One of your best one in UFC is... how is this chick doing? Nope. One of your best one in UFC is Mallory Martin. There's a problem. And when you have losses to Hannah Cyphers and 2019 Veronica Hardy, there's a small problem. So, she's always had talent, I feel. Again, she's just underperformed. How the fuck did you beat Amanda Ribas? I think she is kind of coming into her own now. Her last 2 fights, she has looked better. And I think she'll keep improving. She's only 31 years old, so... my biggest concern with her at this point is she does do that OnlyFans shit, which, as we've talked about many times, Hannah Goldie, Paige Van Zandt, blah blah blah, that a lot of these female fighters get distracted by that and don't train as hard, don't care as much. Is Polly one of those? We'll see. From her last 2 fights, I would say no, she's fighting actually better, I think. So we'll see how much, because they don't need the money as much. They're already making more money doing that than they are when they're fucking doing this fight. So we'll see if that is playing a factor. Again, I don't think so with Polly, with how she has been performing, but we'll see. Yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting fight. It's going to show a lot about Polly. She kind of needs this one, to be honest, because to go 4-6 and to have those 4 wins, a very bad look. So we'll see if she can get the best one of her career by a landslide in the UFC. Not because, again, she somehow beat Amanda Ribas. Some fucking how. So, but yeah, Polly is a very interesting case. So, yeah. The betting odds for this fight have Gillian Robertson minus 200 to plus 165. I don't get that at all. Like, are they that confident Gillian gets it to the ground and subs Polly? I would not be very confident in that. I would definitely move the odd. Like, do I say, like, you could easily have this a pick'em, I would say. I would not be, yeah, I think this should probably be a pick'em. There's a lot of ways this could play out. Gillian could do what most people think she will do, get her to the ground and sub Polly. But let's not forget, like I've talked a lot about Viana's striking. She's good on the ground too. She's not better than Gillian, no, not at all. But she can throw up submissions, and she will. She's not incapable. With how good Gillian has looked in her last few fights, winning wise. We're comparing Polyana Viana to Maria Akapova, Pierre Rodriguez, and Cachoeira. Viana is levels above those 3. And plus, if you look at when Gillian fights people who are capable on the ground, she loses. Ricci, Aldridge, fucking people like Barber, Mayra. Like, when she fights people who are capable on the ground, she loses. Who's the best grappler she's beat? Pierre Rodriguez? So, and then again, striking ain't even fucking close. Polyana Viana looks like goddamn GSP compared to Gillian Robertson, so it's going to be a really interesting fight. If Polly can keep it striking, she'll win. No doubt. But if she, let's say she gasses, because I think that, like, I've been trying to think who has a better gas tank. I don't know. Because I can remember times, I swear I've seen both these two gas. I remember Polly looking kind of gas in the Ricci fight, and Gillian has looked gas a few times, so I think it's definitely who gasses first, who can do their game plan. I hope Polly doesn't do a Jessica Panay, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, and jumps into Gillian's guard or some shit. Because if she does that and gets subbed, you deserve it. But if Polly is smart, she keeps it striking. And that's what I think she's going to do. I think Viana can keep it striking, beat Gillian, and get the win here. She's a better striker by a mile. She's not incapable on the ground. And I'm going to go with Polyana Viana to win this fight. I think she's really getting counted out for some reason. Again, I'm not really... Because she got subbed by Jasmine Lucindo, who is better than Gillian Robertson in every aspect of MMA besides maybe grappling. So, I don't know. I think people really... I would love to hear people's thought process on this fight, because I don't really get it. But whatever. I'm going to go with the underdog here, and I'm going to go with Polyana Viana. So, yeah, I'm going Polyana Viana by decision. I think she'll be able to keep it standing. Pretty simple. Viana by decision. After that, we had to do our second fight of the prelims. Not gonna waste much time on this fight because it's a DWCS rematch, and these two are both debuting. So, yeah. So, in our second prelim of the night in the bantamweight division, we have Sidey versus Ramon the Savage Taveras. Not gonna really break down these two. I'm just gonna say they are having this fight because they fought on the Contender Series, and it was a god-awful stoppage. Really, Sidey should not got a contract off of that, but whatever. Terrible stoppage, and now they're running it back, which is some of the best booking I've seen from the UFC. That's really fucking smart. So, yeah, not really much to say in that regard. So, I'll just say, who do I think's gonna win? You know what? I say Ramon gets his fucking revenge. I think he fucking beats this dude, gets his revenge for that stupid stoppage, and I think he's going to I think he's going to be pissed off. I say Ramon wins this, to be honest with you. I think he's going to go in there and put Sidey to sleep. My pick is going to be Ramon Taveras by knockout in the first. I think he gets revenge for a terrible ref job on the Contender Series. Ramon Taveras by knockout in the first. After that, we had a really good fight in the featherweight division, as we have Charles Jourdain versus Sean the Sniper Woodson. Banger fight. Let's talk about Charles Jourdain. I'm so happy Jourdain got on this card, unlike the Nunes card. They literally booked him like 2 weeks before the Nunes Irani card in Canada last year, which is fucking stupid. So I'm happy he got on the card, and he deserves it, so awesome. Jourdain in the UFC is 6-5-1. Not gonna go down his whole UFC career. I really don't see the point. I'll go down his last few fights. Jourdain is really getting better as a fighter. Like, at first, in this area, he was more of just a brawler. But really, since I'd say he really started to fight more smart around this time. I'll say this. Like, around this time, he's starting to fight a lot smarter. He still can go in there and have some fun fights, but he's definitely fighting smarter. His ground game's getting better, and his chokes are very dangerous at this point. We know he has great kicks. He's a good striker, good power, good fight IQ, really good at using game plans and doing the game plan. He's just a very good fighter, so it's good to see him go from fun brawler to smart fighter very seamlessly, I guess would be the word. Like, in his last 2 fights, he looked great. He dominated Kron Gracie, and then he guillotined Ricardo Ramos, which is a very impressive submission win. So yeah, Jourdain is getting better, and that's a big worry for featherweight, because Jourdain was a good fighter before. If he's getting better, there's a problem. So I'm happy for Jourdain, happy to see him on this card, and I think he can really put his name on the map with a big win here. If he wins this, you can really start giving him getting him back into the talks of rankings, because he fucking fought Shane Barriault, who was ranked at the time. A lot of people say he won that fight, so it's gonna be very interesting to see how he does here. And yeah, Charles Jourdain's getting better, man. To talk about his opponent, Sean Woodson. Woodson in the UFC is 4-1-1. His 4 wins: Kyle Borshak, Yusuf Zalal, Colin Anglin, and Dennis Pazukia. His one loss is Julian Erosa, and his one draw is Luis Saldana. Woodson's a fine fighter. He's not a bad one, but he's not a really good one. He's a 6'3" featherweight, so he's cutting a shit ton of weight, and he's never been that impressive in any of his wins. Like, he doesn't even have any good wins, and B, like, he's not really good at using his fucking reach. Like, he has a giant reach over everyone's division, and he's not really been able to use it well at times. Like, so he lets guys get into the boxing range and, like, really get up close a lot. So it's Woodson's a good fighter, but he's not no world beater. You're like, I don't know, he's shown a lot of flaws in his game over time, and I definitely think this is a big step up for him, and it could go really bad for him. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. He's not a bad fighter, like I said, but he's not the best, I'll say that. The betting after this fight, I have Charles Jourdain -185 to +150. Yeah, I would agree with that. Jourdain is the better fighter here. Just being honest. Jourdain's biggest issue here will be getting on the inside, because he will have he'll have a 9-inch reach disadvantage. He will be fucking way shorter, so he's gonna need to get on the inside. I can see him doing enough leg kicks, fucking takedowns. He's the better grappler. He's probably the better striker, even. More, like, maybe Woodson has more power, but Jourdain, I think, it's just a better fighter overall. And if Jourdain can get on the inside and do his work, even get to the ground, he should be able to win this fight. So my pick here is going to be Charles Jourdain. I think he'll be able to get on the inside, knees, elbows, jab, kicks, everything, the whole 9 yards of him. And I'm going to say Charles Jourdain gets the win here by decision. I think he'll be able to do what he has to get the win. So yeah, Charles Jourdain by decision. And now we end the prelims with a pretty okay fight at bantamweight. Not a great one, but it could be fun, I guess. But I'm not gonna hold my breath on that. As we end the prelims in the bantamweight division with Brad Superman Katona versus Garrett Armfield. It's a fight. Let's talk about Brad Katona, the last Canadian on the prelims. Brad in the UFC is 3-2. His 3 wins are, where the fuck are they? That guy, Matthew Lopez, and Cody Gibson, and his 2 losses are Merab Dvalishvili and Hunter Azure. How the fuck did he lose to Hunter Azure? Katona, of course, won Tough again to get back in the UFC, and he looked good on Tough. Like, in all 3 of his fights, he looked good. Ran through Carlos Vera, very good fight with Timur Valiev, and then fucking one of the best fights of the year with Cody Gibson, showing a lot of heart, like, and doing it striking, mainly, like, in his first UFC run, he was a wrestler. Now he's, like, getting better at striking. He doesn't have the power, but he's not a bad striker. He's getting better at you trying to fucking counter and all that. You should be able to strike a little bit, fuck. So, yeah, Katona, good gas tank, good chin. Like, he looks ready and, like, hungry. Like, dude who knows, is it, like, not many people get a second chance in UFC. He got it, and now he's gonna run with it. So, good for him. And, yeah, 32 years old, back in UFC, coming off a great performance to get the contract, back in Canada fighting. A lot of good things for Katona here, and, let's see how he does. And, talk about his opponent, Garrett Armfield. Garrett in the UFC is 1-1. In his UFC debut, he got smashed by David Onama on short notice. And then his last fight, he ran through Toshiami Kazama. Not much to say about Garrett. Like, his debut, nothing to say. It was short notice, and then Kazama's one of the worst fighters on the fucking roster. So not really anything good to say on that one. I'm not really impressed with Armfield. I guess he has some power, and that's about it. I'm not really seeing much else that impressive from him. Do I think he can, though, do I think his gas tank is as good as Katona's? No. Do I think he has the heart of Katona? No. Do I think he has as good of a chin as Katona? No. Do I think his wrestling's as good as Katona's? No. So, a lot of disadvantages for Garrett in this fight, but you never know. He could break Brad's chin, but I doubt it. So, fuck, I'll say it. I think he's a step down from Cody Gibson. And actually, I don't think most people would disagree with that. So, yeah, I'm like, I'm like, I get he's getting some respect coming off of, like, a really good performance, but look at who he fought. Kazama, who is a joke. So, yes, I picked Kazama in that fight, fuck you. But, yeah, I'm not very impressed with Armfield, and especially, like, if he's fighting someone maybe easier, I can make the case for picking him. But, like, you're fighting a veteran who's just better, he's fighting a veteran who's better than him in pretty much every category besides maybe power. So, yeah, I really, I don't see it here. The betting odds here have Brad Katona minus 180 to plus 150. You could throw Katona to minus 200 easily, if not higher. He's one of the two people, he's one of the two fighters people are calling a lock on this card. I get it. If I were to call a lock, I would definitely, like, if I were to pick a lock outside of Malcolm Gordon, he'd probably be the pick. He should win, but I've counted out Armfield before. Katona, we'll see how he does. I'm going Brad Katona. Obviously, I do think he'll be able to win this. I think he'll be able to win the striking battles, probably, and then probably take him down and win there. So, yeah, pretty simple fight, right? Not the hardest fight in the world. Do predict. So my pick here is going to be Brad Katona by, I'll probably say, decision. Maybe he gets a finish, I doubt it. So, yeah. But that's all I gotta say about the prelims. Very good prelims. One banger on the early prelims. Good fight here. Good fight here. This could be good. This could be good. Just a really good prelims. As I picked one finish out of 7 fights. I swear I'll have more finishes on the main card. Maybe like 1. But yeah, very decent prelims. And now we head to the main card, which is very fine. I don't know if it's worth $80, but that's not my call now, is it? So let's begin the main card with a very good fight in the featherweight division, as we have Arnold Almighty Allen versus Movsar Evloev. Let's talk about Arnold Allen. Arnold in the UFC is 10-1. Not gonna go down his UFC career. We know Arnold Allen by now. He's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter. Do I think he's a champion level fighter at featherweight? No. Do I think he beats guys like Yair, Volk, Ilya? No. But I think he's like, I think he's good where he's at. He's like, what, I think ranked 4th or 5th? Yeah, that's about where he should be. He's good enough to be there, but he's not good enough to go higher than that. So, and the Max fight showed that not, like, losing to Max Holloway is nothing to be upset about. It's Max fucking Holloway. But in the same breath, it just showed, like, I've seen, like, Yair put up a better performance against Max. So, yeah. It kind of shows levels to this. But Allen's very good, and, he's coming back to get, he's back after that first loss in the UFC, and he's getting a pretty giant step down. But anything's a giant step down for Max Holloway, to be honest, so, yeah. And then I'm not going to say much about Movsar Evloev, because this week has been a really bad week for him. And I won't bring up any of that bullshit, but the only thing I will say is, very overrated fighter, a very underwhelming record, and he's looked very underwhelming in fights. In 2 of his last 3 fights, he's looked very underwhelming. Dowdu, he didn't look great. The Yayo Lopez kind of embarrassed him. So, yeah, Evloev, if he gets on the ground, if he's gonna do good, he can't strike. So, yeah. The betting odds for this fight have Movsar Evloev minus 165 plus 135. At one point that was true, but now Evloev's like minus 200, and Arnold Allen's at like plus 160, which is fucking insane in my opinion. I would have Arnold Allen the favorite, to be honest with you. I think Allen, it's like the Polyana Viana fight. If it's on the ground, yeah, Evloev's a lot better, but Arnold Allen can easily keep his fight on the feet and win. He's a 10 times better striker. Gas tank might go to Evloev, but Allen's not gonna gas badly either. Allen's not I don't remember seeing much of Arnold Allen on the ground, but I don't think he's a fucking pushover. So, I definitely think these odds are a little are kind of looking at the records and giving Evloev the boost. But I think, that might end bad. I think Arnold Allen should be able to win this fight. Keep it standing for 15 minutes and win, maybe get a finish. I think it's very fucking possible. And I won't be shocked if it happens, and I don't think anyone should be. So, my pick here is going to be Arnold Allen. I think he can keep it standing and win. And I'm going to go by decision. I don't see Allen getting a finish here. Maybe he does, but I won't hold my breath on it. Evloev might not be the best fighter, but he's tough, and I do see Allen getting a decision win here, 29-28, 30-27, something in that ballpark. So, yeah, maybe even a split decision. You know how they love their Russians. So, but yeah, I'm going Arnold Allen by decision. After that, not gonna waste much time on this fight because I am biased, so it's not really gonna be a good fair breakdown anyway. As we have Chris the Crying Man Curtis versus Marc-André Barriault, the Power Bar. Yeah, not gonna lie, I'm biased. Fuck Chris Curtis, he's a snowflake. I'm going Marc-André Barriault. I hope he can get the win here. It'd be funny, get 3 in a row, beat Curtis, and yeah, I'm going Marc-André Barriault by decision. Pure bias, most likely Curtis will win. I don't care. After that, we had 2 welterweight for a very good fight, and a normal Neil Magny versus a prospect fight. As we have the Haitian sensation, Neil Magny versus proper Mike Malott. Like I said, the normal Neil Magny versus a prospect fight. We've seen 100 of these, and this was another one. Not gonna talk about Neil Magny. If you don't know Neil Magny by now, come on. He's kind of an overrated fighter because he's not very good, but he somehow wins fights, and he holds a lot of records. He's a veteran. And, yeah, he's still kicking in 2024 at the age of 36. To talk about his opponent, though, the star of the show in this fight, and one of the biggest stars on the card, especially in Canada, we have Mike Malott. Mike in the UFC is 3-0. His wins: Mickey Gall, Yohan, Lainesse, and Adam Fugit. He's looked really good in the UFC. Ran through Mickey Gall as you should. Beat Yohan Lainesse pretty easily, and Fugit was not his best performance easily. It's worse than his career so far, but I'll give him benefit of the doubt. It was in Canada, a giant fight on pay-per-view. I'll give him benefit of the doubt, but he needs to perform here a lot better than he did in that fight. So, yeah. But yeah, Malott's a very good fighter. He it's 32. He's good. His striking's good. His ground game's very good. He's just a really solid fighter overall, and a very good prospect in the welterweight division right now. And if he can get the win here, he's really gonna jump into a lot of people's interest lists for 2024, because to start the year getting ranked, who knows where he will get by the end of the year. There you go. Yeah, and if he can have a better performance than a lot of guys have versus Neil Magny, it'd be impressive, because a lot of guys underperform against Magny. Ian Gary, Phil Rowe, like the last prospect who performed to their level performed normally against Magny was Shavkat, which says a lot. Fucking Joff Neal underperformed against him. The Leech, fuck. Like a lot of guys underperform against Neil Magny lately, and we'll see if he adds another name to the list, or does he get beat again. So, yeah. The betting odds have Mike Malott minus 280 to plus 230. I think Malott's up to 300 by now, which, yeah, I'd probably agree with. Malott's the other guy a lot of people are calling a lock. I can't do, Neil is like Angela Hill to an extent. He really makes prospects fight off, and Malott's a very big prospect in a very big spotlight. You never know what could happen, so I'm going to pick Mike Malott, of course, but I definitely am not, I definitely have my concerns, so, yeah. But, yeah, I'm gonna go Mike Malott to get the win here, and I'm gonna go by submission in the first. I was gonna go with KO. That was my first thought, but nah, I'll go with submission. Magny's always been tough to finish. That's why he's only been KO'd twice, but he's been submitted 5 times. So let's make that 6 times. Watch, this will be the one time that she gets fucking knocked out. But yeah, I'm gonna go Mike Malott by submission in the first. I think he'll be able to do what he's been doing in the UFC. Probably look very good doing it. Continue his winning streak and get that ranking. So yeah, Mike Malott by submission in the first. And now we get to the interesting shit. The first title fight of 2024. We head to the vacant women's bantamweight championship, because it needs a new queen with the GOAT being gone. And we're gonna get a new queen Saturday night. The first women's bantamweight title fight to not have Ronda Rousey or Amanda Nunes since Tate and Holm. So there's a new era of women's bantamweight. Let's see if this era can keep the division going, because the division's on its fucking deathbed. It needs anything it can get. But we head to women's bantamweight to crown the champion between Raquel Pennington versus Shitara, Mayra, Bueno, Silva. Pretty good fight. I know a lot of people are ignoring this fight, looking over it, blah blah blah. This could be a very good fight, especially with how the press went today. A lot of shit talk between the two. This could get interesting, and I'm getting more excited for this fight as time passes. I was kind of looking at it as a whatever fight. I'm getting more excited, and over time, my opinion on the fight has changed on who I think's gonna win. So, but let's talk about Rocky a little bit. Not much to say about Rocky. She's a fucking veteran at this point. 12-5 in UFC, 10 years in UFC. This is her 11th fucking year. And she's fought everyone under the goddamn sun. Just to go down her career. Kat Zingano, Roxanne Modafferi, Jessica Andrade, Holly Holm twice, Jessica Andrade again, Cachoeira, Misha Tate, Amanda Nunes, GDR, Rainey Aldana, fucking Kianzad, Shazon, Lad, Vieta. Like, I think it's a fact, the only champion she's not fought is Ronda. So, and like, what, like, big names has she not fought in the division outside of Ronda? Like, in the history of the division, she's fought everyone. And she's beat a couple of them, fucking, 2 wins against, or 1 win against Andrade, beat Roxanne Modafferi, beat Misha Tate, beat Irene Aldana, but she has lost GDR, Nunez, Holm, so she's not a fucking perfect fighter, but she's a veteran. She reminds me of, like, she's not as good, but to an extent, she kind of reminds me of the Glover Teixeira story. Been in the UFC forever, fought everyone possible, pretty much, and is getting a second crack at the belt. Can she break through like Glover? 35 years old. This is definitely her last chance at a title. 5-fight winning streak. The division's getting younger. She's getting older. This is her probably last chance at the belt. Can she get it? Like, she's fighting at a pretty decent level right now. Like, she has won 5 in a row. Not the best winning streak in the world, but she not look bad. Marion Renault, whatever. Kian thought that was a close fight. She subbed Shiazon in an interesting way. Beat Aspen Ladd pretty easily. Close fight with Katlyn Vieira. Not the most impressive winning streak, but to get a 5-fight winning streak in a division that's always changing, it's not bad. And again, Rocky, not the most talented. She's a veteran, and she fights good. Fighting her way. She's not an entertaining fighter. Even Mayra said that at the press conference today. She's not an entertaining fighter. She's a smart fighter. She's a veteran. And that's got her a lot of wins. So, I don't know. It'd be very, very cool to see Rocky break through and get the belt. Because this is her last chance. It would be cool. Does it happen? We'll see. To talk about her opponent, Mayra Bueno Silva. Mayra in the UFC is 5-2-1-1. Weird fucking record. I'll talk about her run at bantamweight, because talking about her flyweight run's kind of still stupid. Since moving up to bantamweight, she is 4-0, beating Yohan Wu, Stephanie Egger, Lena Landsberg, and Holly Holm. She's looked really good, but you want to talk about weak competition. A very below average fighter, very old, so you're fucking really pushing it. Like, neither out of the two who has a better resume is Raquel. Even if you want to go off the boundaries of who has a better winning streak, it's probably Raquel. And so Mayra's very good. I will give her that. And she's breaking through at a old age too. She's 32. Well, 32 ain't old, but she's breaking through. Because for a minute she was in the UFC and she was really not doing much. Got in the UFC at 2018, went 2-1 at flyweight, and then moved up and been fighting well. She definitely has holes in her game. Her gas tank ain't very good. Her striking is okay. Her main threat is subbing you, obviously. And if she gets a hold of you, you're going to be tapping. But if she can't get a hold of you, what happens? We've not seen, because all we've seen is people get subbed by her at bantamweight, and then Yohan Wu. Actually, if I remember, that fight was kind of close, weirdly. So, I think Mayra, especially since I think it's bad that Mayra is so cocky also. If you watch her at the press conference at Media Day, she is so cocky right now that could be good or bad. We'll see. But it's gonna be an interesting one to see, especially let's see how she takes the spotlight. Raquel's been here. She's had a title fight. She got embarrassed. She's been here. She had those jitters out the way. Mayra's never been here. The biggest spotlight she has seen is the Apex main event. Can she handle the bright lights? We'll see. I think this fight's really fucking interesting, and I can't believe they've still not changed this. I think this fight's very fucking interesting when you really look deep into it, and I'm excited. The bang outs have Mayra Bueno Silva -170 to -170 to +140. I think she's up to like almost 200 at this point. I don't get it. This should be a pick'em. I could see this going either way. When this fight was first booked, I was leaning Mayra. I was like, yeah, Mayra should probably win this. Over time, I've thought more about the fight, and I'm like, I don't know, man. This could really be interesting, and I'm very excited to see how this does go. I think a lot of people are overlooking Rocky. Like, I've not seen really anyone backing Rocky in this fight. I've seen a lot of people backing Mayra. I've seen no one backing Rocky. When, to be honest, her way of winning this fight is very plausible. If Raquel Pennington wins this fight, she survived the first round most of the second, and she let Mayra gas. If Raquel Pennington wins this fight, it's going to be a 48-47, maybe a 49-46 decision, because she won the last 3 rounds and maybe round 2, maybe even round 1. You never know. Her way of winning is very possible, and to be honest, it might be a safer route because Raquel. Actually, I want to see how many times has Raquel been submitted. Never. That's even more interesting, and that she's fought a lot of submission fighters, and she's never been submitted. That's even well, no, not in the UFC. She has submitted by Katona, but it's a 1 submission loss. That's interesting. I think a lot of people are not looking deep enough into this fight, which is kind of a shame, but I get it. I definitely get why. So I think this is gonna be interesting. And I'm excited to see a new era of women's bantamweight start because it's the worst division in UFC right now, and it needs help. So, who's going to be the one to take the crown and run with it? For my prediction, I'm going Rocky. I think we see the veteran breaks through again, Glover to Cachoeira style. Will I be shocked if Mayra catches her in submission and wins? Fuck no. I won't be shocked. I would be more shocked. A part of me, since I am picking an underdog, I'd be more shocked if it didn't happen. But I think I'm going to go with the veteran breaking through, being able to survive early, and win a decision. So my pick, I'm going and new UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion of the World, Raquel Pennington, by decision. Will I look stupid? Or will I look smart? We'll see. I'm excited. And now, this gets even crazier. And now, time for the main event of the evening for the UFC Middleweight Championship of the World. Sean Strickland versus Dricus Still Knox Du Plessis. This is gonna be interesting. What the fuck's gonna happen in this fight? Anything can happen in this fight, and I'm very excited to see what will happen. Does Dricus live up to all his trash talk? Does Strickland somehow find a way to win by just being Sean Strickland again? We'll see. One of the craziest title fights I've ever seen, because how? But whatever, this is gonna be interesting. I'm excited. I'm not gonna go really in depth on either guy. Do you really need me to tell you about Sean Strickland? No, you know Sean Strickland, especially after this week. Excuse me. Do I really need to tell you about Dricus Du Plessis? He hits hard. Cool. This is gonna be interesting. The betting odds here are actually pretty wrong. I don't remember the odds ever being like this. Every time I see the odds, it's either Pick'em or Dricus is a favorite. I can't remember seeing Sean a favorite, which I think is fucking insane that people are still overlooking Strickland. Trust me. you can, whatever fucking bias you have towards the person, if he fucking gets you butthurt, whatever, he is good at fighting weird. I'll give him that much. It worked against Izzy, it's worked many times. Will it work again? We'll see Saturday night. But, like, let's not, like, I think we're a little past fucking, like, disrespecting him to this extent. Like, after what he just did to Izzy, he should not be an underdog to Dracus du Plessis. Like, Dracus, who I say is still an unproven fighter, what has he done? 6 wins, and his last fight was against a really an old Robert Whittaker. So I'm not that impressed with Dracus still. So it's gonna be interesting. Well, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens here, because either a lot of people were right about Dracus, and even Dracus was right about Dracus, or Strickland shuts that shit down. This fight could go a lot of ways. And by the way, I want to bring this up. Can we stop acting like Dracus is the wrestler here? Dracus wrestling is the dumbest idea possible. Like, I'm not gonna go into that Strickland, he's a good wrestler bullshit, because we've never seen it. But dude, the last thing Dracus wants to do is wrestle because he has no fucking gas tank. Especially the second you gas against Strickland, you're fucked. So, it's gonna be interesting. Also gonna be interesting is, what way does this fucking fight go? Does Strickland it for 25 minutes? Does Dracus knock him out? Does Strickland finish him somehow? It's gonna be interesting. I'm excited. What do I think's gonna happen? I'll start off by saying I think we're going to hear, and still, I think Strickland's gonna win. Second of all, how? I'm gonna go decision. I think we see another classic Strickland. Maybe he gets a finish. Maybe. But I'm gonna say we see another Strickland perform. He actually might get punched in his final, like the Izzy fight, but Izzy sucks, so what do you expect? It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very interesting, but I'm gonna go with, and still, Sean Strickland by decision. It's gonna be interesting. Dracus fans will fucking fall away like that. That will be funny. Whoever loses, we get to laugh at least. So, but yeah, I think we hear and still. And you also hear a boom. That's the breakdown. To go over my picks one last time. Malcolm Gordon, lock of the night, by decision. Jasmine Jasudavicius by decision. Sam Patterson by decision. Polyana Viana by decision. Ramon Taveras by knockout in the first. Jourdain by decision. Katona by decision. Arnold Allen by decision. Marc-André Barriault by decision. Malott by submission in the first. Raquel Pennington by decision. And Sean Strickland by decision. I might change a couple of those decision picks. We'll see. Maybe I'll fucking get a light bulb for a fight or two. But yeah, like the main card, I think my picks are pretty much set. Mainly those prelims. Maybe I'll get another finish on there. But you know me, I don't force finish picks unless I actually think it's gonna happen. So maybe I won't. But I think this card could be really good. I know going into the week I was like, yeah, this card ain't very good, but after we've got deeper into the week, it's got pretty good. And let's also give this card a little bit of fucking leeway. It was meant to have this and this on it, plus MVP was meant to debut here. That fell through. So to still be a pretty decent card after losing 2 to 3 giant fights, well, 2 giant fights and a pretty decent fight, respect to the UFC and this card for still staying pretty decent. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm always excited for a card, but I am excited for this card, especially as the week goes on, because Strickland makes every week exciting when he fights. And, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. You'll hear from me again Sunday, 1 p.m. EST, for a recap of this insane card. And, unless I'm forgetting to say something, which I don't think I am, please like, comment, subscribe. 100 subs goal by the end of 2024. And as always, RX out. Good vibes only and always.